Hey guys, it's Gaijin Hunter, and today I have a very special video for you guys. I went ahead and bought an entire box of Monster Hunter figures so that I can unbox them and show them off to you guys. In case you aren't aware, the Capcom makes a series of figures called the Figure Builder series. This one is the Standard Plus Rage version, and these figures retail for about 700 yen plus tax in Japan. That's only like $6 US. It's a blind box and you aren't sure which one of the 6 or so figures you're going to get. But they also come with an extra part that allows you to complete a special figure in case you get them all. Now, 700 yen for this type of quality is an absolute steal. The craftsmanship, the quality that goes into these builds is astonishing. So today I have with me an unopened box of the Standard Plus Rage version series. This one was released on September 30th in 2014. While there's a high probability, since I bought a complete unopened box, that I'm going to get the full set, there's no guarantee, so let's just hope I get them all. My goal for this video is really just to introduce you to this fantastic series and to show off the figures. Also, if you don't know these monsters, I'm including the ecology videos as well, so you can get a little context of who these guys are and why they're so awesome. I know that in certain territories these are either not available or they're marked up, like double the price, but I do think that they're really fantastic quality. I hope that comes through in my shoddy video here. And if you guys ever have like an event or something where they're selling them, hopefully you can keep your eye out. Now this set, if I get them all, should contain the Silver Rathalos, the Golden Raytheon, the Molten Tigrex, a Cantor, the Savage Devil Joe, and finally the Golden or Furious Rajang. So these are all going to be in their enraged states, and that's sort of like the whole thing of this particular series. There's also special color parts in each one to complete the clear color version of a Cantor, which, to be honest, I've never really been into clear color type of figures, but some people are, so hey, there you go. Okay, let's open up our first figure and see what we get. This is a kind of a appearance of what it looks like on the box. Again, on the back, they're just letting you know that you can collect each piece for the special clear version of a Cantor. So, I don't know. The one that I really want to get in this series particularly is the Molten Tigrex, so I'm hoping that because I bought an unopened box we get them all, but we'll find out. Okay, enough looking at the box, let's bust this bad boy open, huh? Now, I gotta admit, I'm not very clean about this. I'm just like a kid, I just ripped them right open, so I mean, that's who I am. So once you open it up here, you'll generally see the extra piece for the special figure, which you'll see at the top here. I'll pull out. This is the head of the Cantor. Of course, it's kind of pointless if you don't have them all, you know? I think that's the whole idea, is to get you to get them all. And the first figure we got is, ooh, the Devil Joe. Now let's go check out the ecology video so you can see what this monster is all about. Now what we just saw there was actually the base species of the Devil Joe, but the figure here is the special variant from Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate called the Savage Devil Joe. Now there's mixed reports on this monster and whether or not this is like what happens to a Devil Joe when it reaches full maturity, or like director Fujioka-san once said in an interview, just the murderous rage of the Devil Joe has fully awakened, and that's what turns it into the Savage Joe. Still, it's loved and dreaded by hunters all around the world, and it's one of my favorites as well. There's just something really great about this monster because it's just so hungry, it'll eat anything. Like, it'll eat other monsters, it'll attack, it'll eat its own tail if you cut it off. It's pretty funny. One hint if you're fighting the Devil Joe, if you didn't know about it, is that you can take different points of tainted meat and put them on the field, and it will actually eat them. So if you put like poison, or if you put like the paralysis meat, it'll actually eat it and then become paralyzed. So go ahead and utilize those meats if you're going up against the Joe, especially the Savage Joe. So this is the figure. I think it looks really great. I don't particularly like putting these things on stands, so I'm happy that this figure in particular has little nubs on his feet, but you don't need the stand in order to stand him up, so that's pretty cool. So we'll go ahead and take a look at all the different angles here. Now if you ever see a regular Devil Joe, you won't see that kind of hair spiking up. That's a special characteristic of the Savage Devil Joe. It's a pretty hefty piece, I gotta admit. So if you're going for this or the Acantor, you can actually pick up the box and pick out the heaviest one, and you're probably going to guarantee that it's either him or Acantor. So there are some ways to cheat the blind boxing, you know? A lot of people in the West call him the giant pickle, but I noticed in Japan they don't do that, and I think it's just there's no real long pickle eating culture out here. I mean, there's pickled stuff, but not the long pickles that you would get from, like, this image evokes. Anyways, that was the Savage Devil Joe. Let's move on to our next figure. I wonder what it's going to be. Okay, now we're moving on to our second figure. I wonder what it's going to be. If I pull another Savage Devil Joe, I'll be very upset. I'll admit, it happens. If you don't buy a full set and you buy them randomly, you could pull the same figure 2-3 times in a row. So here we have the hands for the Acantor, so this is different. So this is a very positive sign. And we got the Furious Rajang. Let's go check out the ecology video to see what this monster is all about. Now there's no right way to pronounce the monster names. They're all made up and they're all original. So I don't know whether this is Rajang or Rajang or Rajang or however you want to say it is fine. However, in Japanese it is Rajang, so I do say Rajang. It's just a side effect of knowing Japanese. Now the Furious Rajang made its debut all the way back in Monster Hunter Portable 2nd G. Now that game was called Monster Hunter Freedom Unite in the West, and it's a very special variant of Rajang where it starts out very furious and hits very hard. Now veterans of the game still have nightmares from that double Furious Rajang in the arena quest back in Freedom Unite. Like there was a quest where you had to do 2 of these guys at once and it was ridiculous. This is also my absolute worst monster in the entire series of Monster Hunter. I know a lot of people, especially Japanese players, like Rajang because once you know the monster, he's incredibly predictable, which is why you'll see a lot of people doing Rajang guild quests in Monster Hunter for Ultimate, but for someone like me, I don't know why, I just haven't quite learned him that well yet. So this is him in all his glory. Now, because he is putting his whole body into throwing this object, that you do need to have that little piece to stand him up on his chest. So this is not a piece you can just take off the stand and put on your desk. Still, it's a cool little piece. I think it really captures the furious nature of the monster pretty darn well, so I like it. One thing to note in the main series is that the Furious version and the regular version count as different monsters, so there are parts that you could only get from this version of the monster, so if you find that you're not able to get certain parts, you might be hunting the wrong version. Anyway, that was Rajang. I hope you guys enjoyed him, and let's move on to our third unboxing. Okay, so far the Savage Joe and the Enraged Rajang, I think we're doing pretty good. So let's go and open our third one and see what we get. Again, sorry I'm so brutal when I open these. This is the actual torso for the Acantor, so this tells me we have a new figure, so that's good. Who do we get? We get the Silver Rathalos. Now there's no ecology video for the silver, but let's look at the regular Rathalos. Now, I think regular Rathalos is similar enough that that video gives you off what this thing is. The whole idea is that it's the king of the skies. So this thing flies a lot, shoots lots of fireballs, and is super aggressive. Now this is a variant called the Silver Rathalos, and it actually made its appearance all the way back in Monster Hunter G. This is one of the first games of the entire series. Now there's a long running joke that a lot of series veterans will know, is that it takes place in a very special map up on the top of a castle, and there's a move that Silver Rathalos does where he like literally just starts circling the sky and then jumps down. But in the older games there was kind of a bug, and he would just keep circling and circling and circling for like minutes on end before he came down. In Japan they joked around and they called it the World Tour of Silver Rathalos. Anyways, this was a huge problem back in the day, but not anymore, and it's a really fun monster to hunt. Now, one of the things that makes this Silver Rathalos incredibly different from its base version of the monster is how tough it is. Like, if you don't have good sharpness, you're going to be bouncing off this thing quite a bit. Also, it likes to roar and then spit a fireball in your face, so I highly recommend that if you go up against it, you bring high-grade earplugs. That will allow you to get out of the way when you know it's about to scream at you. This is another figure where you need that little like peg to hold it up because it's in the air. But one of the things that you'll notice here that I really like about this series is how much care they take into crafting the silhouette of the monster. Like, it looks like the monster icon, everything about it is very iconic, and you get some really nice shots of the wings and the tail here. Like, if you face this thing in the game, this is exactly what it looks and feels like, so great work on the behalf of Capcom, really great stuff. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of the little flame effects coming out of its mouth though, they look a little cheap. But because it's furious, that's what they put in the mouth. So here's some final beauty shots, so to say, and I think it's time to move on to our next figure. Okay, figure number 4, what's it gonna be? Let's tear this thing open. Let's see, the special part we get is actually the base for the Acantor down in there. And we got the Golden Raytheon. Let's go check out the regular Raytheon's ecology video. Again, with pronunciation, it could be Raytheon, could be Rathian, I don't know. So call it whatever you like. So this is the base here for the Acantor. So just to give you a little background on this monster, this is where the Rathalos is the king of the sky and is a male. The Raytheon is a female. Now the Golden Raytheon was debuted alongside the Silver Rathalos back in Monster Hunter G. So these are actually the first two rare species in the series. Now one thing you guys may not know is that in the English version, they give all of the subspecies and the rare species like special names. Like you have the Azure Rathalos and the Silver Rathalos and the Golden Raytheon. But in Japanese they don't do that at all. They have nicknames, but the actual name is just the name plus subspecies or name plus rare species. So this is the rare species. Just like the Silver Rathalos, this thing is really tough. Like the hide is really tough. So make sure you have good sharpness before you go in there and fight this thing. Now the cool thing about the Golden Raytheon is her set. Her armor gives you the super luck skill, which allows you to get more rewards in each hunt. So I suggest you guys go online if you haven't done it yet and make the Golden Raytheon set. They do have her in the DLC event quest for Monster Hunter for Ultimate. Not only is it a good set and it comes with part breaker like Destroyer, but it comes with that huge luck set, so it's really good if you're farming. It also has really good fire defense, which is useful against a lot of the monsters in the game. As for this figure, I like it. It's another one that you can put on your desk and it doesn't have to have a little peg, but I'm not sure I like that little fire effect coming out of its mouth. But overall, really great work on the texture and the colors are spot on. Okay, on to our next figure. What's it gonna be? We're on a roll so far without getting the same one, so I hope it's another different one. Yeah, we got the Akantor's feet, so this is definitely a new figure, so goody goody. Oh, and here he is himself, the big Akantor. Let's check out his ecology video before we take a look at the figure. Now, a lot of people like to ask me on my Tumblr or YouTube or even Twitter, like, what's a good way to make Zenny in the game? So if you want to make money, there's a thing that we have in Japan, a joke, where we call it the Bank of Akantor, because all Akantor parts, be it high rank or G rank, sell for a ridiculous amount of money. So if you go ahead and just hunt this thing in like a group where you can just keep flashbanging and spamming it, you can make a lot of money. Another funny thing is that the Akantor's name in Japanese is Akamu Torumu, and if you take out just the abbreviations of each letter, you get ATM for Akamu Torumu, and so we call it the ATM, or the, you know, like for a bank, right? It's pretty funny. Akantor was the final online boss in Monster Hunter Portable 2nd, and it also served as the gatekeeper into G rank for Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the figure here. Really like the detail they did on the back spikes. It's really well done. Now, if you're having a hard time with this monster, I suggest you just go and pack in a lot of flashbangs. This thing loves to get it gets totally blinded and put back, and you can just have one person in your team literally just flashbanging it over and over again, and the thing can't move, and then you can all wail on it and break its parts. So, fun monster. Remember to bring your cool drinks when you do fight it, because it is in the volcano area, and it's fun. Some beauty shots of it. Okay, so far we've been getting every single figure in the series, and we only have one more to go. I hope that it's the Molten Tigrex. If it's not, I'm going to cry. So we get a part. This is the clear Akantor's tail, so this is a very good sign. Let's see it. There it is, the Molten Tigrex. Let's go check out the ecology video for the regular one. Molten Tigrex is a new rare species that was introduced in Monster Hunter 4. It also made its appearance in Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate for the West. Now in Japan it actually has a funny nickname of being called Kitty, which is why you'll see a lot of weapons such as the bow refer to names such as the kitty bow or the kitty gun lance. This is actually, a lot of you ask me what some of my favorite monsters are, and I have to admit, the Molten Tigrex is probably one of my favorite monsters in Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. It really starts out slow, and you sort of like, what's wrong with this monster? He doesn't realize I'm here. But once this monster starts getting like going and that furnace starts burning, this thing goes wild. This is the figure I wanted the most out of the entire set because I actually owned all the other figures. I've bought these things randomly left and right over the last year, and this is the one that I've never managed to get. So again, if you're looking for a full set, your best bet is to buy an unopened box, although even then they won't guarantee that you're going to get them all, but it's pretty much guaranteed. I love the texture work here on the back. You can see the scales and the little dots here. It's just really well done. You can actually stand this thing up without the stand, but it does look better with the positioning if you do put it in the pegs. That's what it looks like if you don't. Then finally, I figured because I did get all the parts for the clear Acantor that I should put it together so we can see what it looks like. Again, I'm not a very big fan of these crystal or clear versions of figures, but I know there is a certain market for it and people really do like it as collectors because it has more value than one single figure, right? Because if you don't get every figure, you can't make it. So this thing technically has a value of like $70, right? If you think about it like that. Now, unlike the Cantor, which only had a few parts, this thing has like a ton of parts because they had to spread them out in other boxes. So I actually had kind of a hard time putting it all together. So I'm going to speed this up. So this is what it looks like finally completed. So if you guys like it, it retains all the details, like all the spikes and everything is modeled out nice. It just has this kind of like molten red kind of texture to it. This is what it looks like with all my boxes unraveled and thrown. It looks like Christmas morning if you're into Christmas. And here they are on my desk. If you liked the video, I hope you hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't, and go ahead and leave a comment down below and let me know which figure you thought was the coolest. This is a great series again, so if you find a way to either import it or they have it at a special show from Capcom, go ahead and buy a few of them. I think you won't be disappointed in the quality, even if the cost is more expensive than 700 yen. That's just kind of the nature of having imported goods, right? Until next time, happy hunting.